Do you want to make story time more magical? I'll show you 3 simple ways. Tell it, build it, and read it. So every story becomes a shared memory. Storytelling builds love and connection between generations. Hi there, Paul Mackey here, and in this video I'm going to show you 3 ways to tell a story. So those 3 ways are orally, so just like I'm just speaking now, and that could be anywhere. The other way, which I prefer, is to use a story table, which is what you see in front of you, and I'll explain this in a minute. And the other way is to actually just tell a story from a storybook. So this is one of my storybooks, and normally I would be telling this with a group of children who would be sitting there, and I would just be showing them the pictures and reading the story. So usually I would fold that like this and tell them the story. Or if I was doing this with my grandchild or grandchildren, I would have them sitting here and I'd be showing the story and telling the story. So those are the 3 ways to tell a story: orally, with the story table, and using the storybook. So what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to actually tell you a quick story to show you how I do it. And usually what I would do is I would either tell my grandchild the story, and then I would set up the table, the story table like this, and then I would put out extra stuff and they would play with this as part of an activity when they come to visit. Okay, so this story is about Robby the Rabbit. And what I'm going to do is, this is a puppet, and I'll just move it. And here what I have is just a milk carton. So I use that milk carton and I have it set up as a hill. And then I have some animals here. So what I do is I put the animals behind the hill so the children can't see them. And then they are part of the story. The puppet, there's 2 types of puppet. There's the helper puppet, which is this one. And this one I use as a helper. So what I might do is you have, this is Nellie the elephant. And I might speak as the puppet, so I might say, "Hi, my name is Nellie the elephant. My friend Paul is going to read you a story." And the other way you can use this puppet, I'll do a video on puppets, is you might have the puppet whisper, and you say, "Oh yes, Nellie, oh, you want Paul to read you a story?" And so this is a helper puppet. The children don't play with this, and then once I've used the puppet, I'll keep it out of sight, and then I'll just put it away somewhere. This one is what I call a play puppet. So what I might do is I might use this puppet to tell the story or introduce the story, and I would say, "Oh, my friend Robby the Rabbit, he's kind of shy, but he wants to tell me to tell you a story. So maybe you could ask him to, if you want him to tell you a story." So then the children would say, "Oh, tell us a story," and I'd come out and say, "Oh, he's very shy rabbit." And he comes out, he says, "Yes, I would like Paul to, he's saying I would like you to read the story." So it gets a little bit confusing whether you're either speaking for the puppet or the puppet is speaking to you. So once you've done it a few times, you sort of get used to whether you're the puppet or not, or whether it's a play puppet. So as a play puppet, I would just do the puppet would whisper to me, and I would tell the story. That's basically how we use puppets, just a quick review of puppets. To tell the story, so I would leave this out for the children to play with, and most of them will actually start using the puppet and tell their own story. So this story is about Robby the Rabbit, And Robby the rabbit goes for a walk and he finds a hat in the forest and he decides he's going to live in the hat. So this is Robby, he's in his hat and he's living, this is his home in the forest. So one day it's raining really heavy, it's pouring down with rain, everything's wet and it's cold, and Robby is in his home nice and warm. So along comes a cat. And the cat says, "Oh, Robby, Robby, I'm wet and freezing. Can I shelter under your hat?" Robby says, "Oh, there's not much room under my hat." So the cat says, "Please, please let me shelter under your hat. I'm so cold, I'm freezing and wet." So Robby says, "Okay, you can shelter under my hat." So the cat shelters under the hat. Next comes the dog. The dog comes along, says, "Oh, can I shelter under your hat? I'm so wet." And the cat says, No, there's not enough room under the hat." So the dog says, "Please, please let me shelter under your hat. I'm so cold, I'm so wet. Can I shelter under your hat?" So the cat says, "Yes, you can. Okay, we'll find room. You can shelter under my hat." So then there's a rabbit, and I've got a pig, and you would have all your different animals here, and you basically just say the same lines. Each animal comes out, wants to shelter under the hat, and then they beg. So what you're doing is you're changing your voice tone. So you'd say the rabbit comes out and says, "Please, please." So you're varying your voice. Anyway, I'll do a whole thing on setting up story tables and explain just why you would change your voice and all of that stuff. So basically, that's how we would tell a story. We would tell it in 3 ways. And the last final way is we would, as I showed you before, we would read the storybook. And this storybook, this is not the one for this story because it's being printed. But every story video that I do for each setup will have a storybook. And you can purchase this off Amazon to go with each and then set up your own story table. And I'll have a video about how we do all of that. So basically this video is just showing you 3 ways to tell a story orally, using the story table and using the storybook. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Subscribe to help more kids and seniors connect through stories. Thanks for watching.